Have you ever encountered a shrine that, for some reason, tugged at your heart? Perhaps you were just passing by, yet your feet turned toward it on their own. Some of you may have even stood before a humble, unmarked sanctuary and found tears spilling from your eyes without knowing why. Let me tell you, my friends, that was no accident. That was the moment your soul was ready to open its door. I have long taught this truth: God does not reside far away in the high heavens. God is an existence that descends right here, into you. A shrine is not merely a place to beg for favors or trade coins for luck. It is a place of contract, a stage where you prepare your inner self to welcome the divine. Today, we embark on a journey not to find God outside, but to awaken the pillar of light within your own chest. Are you ready to become the vessel? Let our awakening begin. Chapter 1: The Unseen Burden. Let me ask you something honest. When you woke up this morning, did you feel light as a feather, or did you feel a weight pressing down on your chest before your feet even touched the floor? We live in a world that demands so much of us, don't we? Work, family, the endless stream of information, the expectations of who we should be. It accumulates, layer by layer, like dust settling in an abandoned room. You might not see it in the mirror, but your soul feels it. That heaviness, that subtle suffocation. This is what I want to talk about first. Because before we can talk about God descending into you, we must talk about why there is no room for Him right now. You see, I was not always the man you see before you, confident, perhaps a little loud, preaching about the universe. Long ago, I was just a boy named Onisaburo, born into a poor farming family in Kyoto. And let me tell you, I was no chosen hero from the start. I was weak. My body was so frail that I couldn't even attend school like the other children. While they ran in the fields, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if my life had any meaning at all. Have you ever felt that? That sense of being left behind while the rest of the world moves forward? It is a lonely feeling, a cold ache in the gut. As I grew older, that physical weakness turned into a desperate ambition. I wanted to be someone. I wanted to prove my worth to the world. So, what did I do? I chased success. I tried my hand at mining manganese, digging into the earth hoping to strike it rich. I failed. The earth gave me nothing but blisters and debt. Then, I thought, new times are coming. And I started a business manufacturing ramune, that fizzy soda pop that was becoming popular. I thought I was clever. I thought, this is it. This is how I make my mark. And what happened? I failed again. Every step I took to build myself up only seemed to knock me down harder. My pockets were empty, my pride was shattered, and my heart was full of noise. Why me? Why is this happening? What am I doing wrong? These were the questions that screamed in my head, drowning out everything else. Does this sound familiar to you? Maybe you aren't digging for manganese, but you are digging for approval at your job. Maybe you aren't making soda, but you are trying to manufacture a perfect life for social media. And yet, at the end of the day, when the lights go out, that question remains: is this it? This, my friends, is the burden of the self. It is the weight of trying to control the uncontrollable. We carry around these heavy thoughts: resentment, anxiety, jealousy, fear. They are not just emotions, they are like mud clinging to your boots. And the more you struggle in the mud, the deeper you sink. Now, think about that shrine you felt drawn to. Remember what I said in the beginning. Why did your feet turn that way? Because your soul knows something your mind has forgotten. Your soul knows that you are carrying too much. When you walk through the Torii gate, that sacred archway, it is not just a decoration. It is a filter. It is a boundary between the world of heavy mud and the world of clear air. The moment you step through, you are supposed to leave those titles, those failures, those worries outside. But we humans are stubborn creatures, aren't we? We drag our mud right up to the altar. We stand before the gods and say, "Please give me more success. Please fix my problems. Please make me rich." We ask for more, when what we really need is less. I learned this the hard way. In those days of failure, Walking through the streets of Kamioka, I was a walking bundle of nerves and frustration. I didn't know it then, but I was full. Full of myself, full of my pain, full of my desperate need to control my destiny. There was no room for God to enter because Kisaburo was taking up all the space. And perhaps, right now, you are full too. Full of worry about tomorrow. Full of regret about yesterday. It is exhausting, isn't it? I want to tell you that it is okay to be tired. It is okay to admit that your own strength is not enough. In fact, that admission is the very first step. The shrine is structured to help you with this, if you pay attention. Have you noticed the long approach, the sando? The gravel crunching under your shoes? That sound. Crunch, crunch, crunch. It is designed to break the loop of your thoughts. The wind in the trees, the smell of the damp earth, it is all there to pull you out of your head and into your body. To strip away the I must and the I should. I want you to take a moment right now, as you listen to this. Imagine you are standing at the bottom of those stone steps at a shrine. Look up. The stairs are steep. Each step represents a layer of that heavy armor you wear. Step 1, the worry about money. Step 2, the anger at your boss. Step 3, the fear of being alone. With every step you climb, imagine leaving one heavy bag behind. You don't need to carry it up to the top. The God at the top doesn't want your baggage, he wants you. He wants the raw, naked, honest soul underneath all that noise. My journey from a failing businessman to a man who speaks with the universe began only when I stopped trying to force the world to obey me. But that didn't happen overnight. Oh no, the universe had to shake me first. It had to break my little plan so that I could see the great plan. Your struggles, your failures, that feeling of being stuck, do not hate them. They are not punishments. They are the friction required to polish a mirror. They are the universe saying, not that way, my child. Look here. So, my dear friends, do not despair if your life feels heavy today. That heaviness is simply the signal that it is time to unload. It is the signal that you are ready to stop being a self-made man or a self-made woman and start being a God-made vessel. But how do we do that? How do we truly let go when the world demands we hold on? And what happens when the friction becomes so intense that it feels like it might burn you alive? I faced that fire, quite literally. And that is the story we must turn to next. Because before the peace of the shrine, there is often a battle. A battle between the fire of the spirit and the water of the body. Are you ready to walk through the fire with me? Chapter 2, Fire and Water. Now, you might be thinking, if I just go to the shrine, if I just empty my mind, everything will become peaceful, right? My life will be filled with rainbows and sunshine. I hate to be the one to burst your bubble, but I must tell you the truth. Awakening is not a gentle nap in a meadow. Awakening is a storm. When you decide to open the door to the divine, you are not just inviting a guest for tea. You are inviting a lightning bolt into your living room. Let me take you back to a pivotal moment in history, to show you exactly what I mean. The year was 1898. I had just begun my spiritual journey, leaving behind the failures of my youth. I traveled to a small town called Ayabe, following a mysterious guidance. There, I met a woman who would change the course of my life and the history of Japan. Her name was Deguchi. She was an old woman, illiterate, worn down by a life of extreme poverty and tragedy. But when I looked at her, I did not see a frail grandmother. I saw a pillar of fire. She was possessed by a god known as Yushitora no Kanjin, the golden god of the Northeast. This was not a gentle, smiling deity. This was a god of strictness, a god of judgment, a god who roared that the world was broken and needed to be rebuilt from the ground up. Now was the fire, burning, rigorous, uncompromising. I, on the other hand, was the water. I was young, flexible, educated in modern ways, and believed in adaptation and harmony. You might think that when fire meets water, they would balance each other out. But what happens when you pour water into a raging fire? It explodes. Steam, hiss, chaos. That is exactly what happened to us. We called it the War of Fire and Water. For years, within our small group, there was constant conflict. The old followers of Now didn't trust me. They thought I was too modern, too flashy, too worldly. They locked me in a room. They took my writings, the words I had poured my soul into, and burned them to ash. They called me an imposter. Can you imagine? I had dedicated my life to this path, only to be rejected by the very people I was supposed to lead. And it didn't stop there. As our movement grew, the outside world began to take notice. And the world did not like what it saw. A group of people claiming that God was more important than the government? That was dangerous. In 1921, the state authorities decided they had seen enough. This was the first Omoto incident. Armed police surrounded our sanctuary. They dragged me away in handcuffs, treating me like a common criminal. But the heartbreak didn't end with imprisonment. They took our beloved shrine, the physical place where we had prayed, where thousands had found hope, and they began to destroy it. Not just close it down, but destroy it. They smashed the stone lanterns. They tore down the timbers. It was as if the world was screaming, "We do not want your God here." Why am I telling you this tragic story? Is it to make you feel sorry for me? No, I am telling you this because this war of fire and water is not just history. It is happening inside you and around you right now. Have you ever noticed that the moment you decide to improve yourself, something goes wrong? You decide, I am going to live a more spiritual life. I am going to be calm and kind. And the very next day, your car breaks down. Your spouse picks a fight with you for no reason. Your boss criticizes your best work. Friends you thought were close suddenly drift away, or even attack you. You think, I must be doing something wrong. If I was on the right path, shouldn't things be smooth? Listen to me closely. The resistance is the proof that you are moving. When a boat moves through the water, it creates waves. The faster the boat, the bigger the waves. If you are standing still, there is no friction. But you are not standing still anymore, are you? You are trying to raise a pillar of God within you. And the world, which is used to you being small, quiet, and compliant, will push back. The input text speaks of this truth. Gods possess both strictness and gentleness. If you are drawn to a shrine, if you feel that pull, it means you are being called to a mission. And a mission requires strength. How do you build strength? By lifting heavy weights. Those uncomfortable relationships, they are your weights. That sudden financial trouble, it is the friction designed to polish your soul. Those who leave your life, they are the leaves falling from the tree so that new buds can grow. There is a phrase I love, reflected in the mirror of fate. The people around you, the angry ones, the doubting ones, they are mirrors. They are showing you the parts of yourself that are still fearful, still attached, still angry. When the authorities crushed our shrine, they were a mirror showing us that we were perhaps too attached to the physical building. They forced us to realize that the true shrine cannot be smashed with hammers because it is built in the heart. But oh, how it hurt at the time. I cried, I raged, I felt abandoned. And maybe you feel that way too. God, if you are there, why is this happening? But look at the pattern. Now's strictness fire and my flexibility water eventually merged. The steam from that explosion became the energy that drove our movement to millions of people. The destruction of our first shrine forced us to expand our vision from a small town in Japan to the entire world. The persecution didn't kill us, it purified us. It stripped away the fake followers and left only those with true God bonds, spiritual connections that could not be broken. So, if you are currently in the middle of a storm, I want you to stand tall. If people are leaving you, let them go. If the world feels like it is trying to crush your dreams, let it try. This is your war of fire and water. It is necessary. It is the heat of the forge that turns a lump of iron into a sword. You are not being punished. You are being forged. But why must it be so hard? Why is the universe built this way? Is there a way to understand the mechanism behind this suffering so we don't have to be afraid of it? To answer that, we must zoom out. Way out. We need to look at the very structure of the universe itself. We need to understand who, or what, God really is. Because once you know the layout of the battlefield, the fear disappears. Are you ready to see the blueprint of reality? Chapter 3: The Root of the World. Now that we have walked through the fire of conflict, we must cool our heads and look at the map of reality. To understand why you suffer, and to understand how to fix it, you must first understand what God actually is. Forget the image of an old man with a white beard sitting on a cloud, judging you for your mistakes. That is a fairy tale. If you hold on to that image, you will always feel small, and God will always feel far away. I have taught this for decades, and I will say it again. God is not in the universe. God is not outside the universe. God is the universe. Think about it with cold logic. If God were inside the universe would be bigger than God. If God were outside the universe, then God and the universe would be two separate things, standing next to each other. But God is absolute. There is no outside. There is no other. Every star, every planet, every grain of sand, and every cell in your body is a piece of God. Onisaburo Deguchi calls this Mugen Zatai, infinite and absolute. Let me give you an image to hold in your mind. Imagine a great, ancient tree. This tree represents everything that exists. The deep roots, the hidden source that feeds everything. That is the one God. In Christianity, they call it God. In Buddhism, Amida. In Shinto, Aim no Manakanushi. It doesn't matter what name you use, it is the source. Now, look at the trunk and the thick branches. These are the many gods. The deities of the land, the spirits of the mountains, the guardians you pray to at the shrine. They are distinct, yes, but they are not separate from the tree. And finally, look at the tips of the branches. Look at the flowers and the leaves fluttering in the wind. Who are they? That is you. That is humanity. We are the flowers of this great tree. We are not slaves to God, we are the expression of God. When you understand this, you realize that pantheism, God in everything, and monotheism, one God, are the same thing. I often use a folding fan to explain this. When the fan is closed, it is one thick rod, one God. When you snap it open, it spreads into many ribs and paper, the 8 million gods and all living things. Opened or closed, it is the same fan. So, if you are already part of God, if you are a leaf on this divine tree, why do you feel so lost? Why do you feel disconnected? Why do you need to go to a shrine at all? This brings us to the concept of resonance. The universe is made of waves. Everything is vibrating. The great source vibrates at a frequency of pure order, pure love, and pure creation. But you, living in the modern world, your vibration gets messy. Stress, anger, jealousy, greed, these create noise. You become like a radio that is slightly off the station. You are static. You are technically still part of the tree, but you are a withered leaf because the sap, the divine energy, cannot flow through a blocked channel. This is why the shrine exists. The shrine is not a house for God, it is a tuning fork for humans. Everything in the shrine, the angle of the roof, the placement of the trees, the sound of the water, the crunch of the gravel, is calculated. It is designed based on the 3 great rules of learning that govern the universe: spirit, power, and body. Let's break these down, because they are the keys to your reality. First, the body tie. Look at the world around you. Look at the planets orbiting the sun. American scientists at NASA send probes to distant planets like Neptune, and they arrive exactly on time, to the second. How? Because the universe moves with mathematical perfection. Look at your own hand. You have DNA, a code so complex that no supercomputer can replicate it perfectly. Do you think this happened by accident? Do you think a tornado blew through a junkyard and assembled a Boeing 747? No, there is a body of laws, a program, a form that holds reality together. When you align your life with order, cleaning your room, fixing your posture, honoring your commitments, you are tuning into God's body. Second, the power Reiki. The planets don't just sit there, they move. Your heart doesn't just exist, it beats. There is a colossal, unseen energy pushing everything forward. Evolution, growth, the changing of seasons. This is God's power. When you take action, when you work hard, when you exercise, you are tuning into God's power. Third, and most importantly, the spirit ray. This is the mind of the universe. What is the nature of this mind? It is love, and it is the will to live. Have you ever watched a tiny bug try to escape when you go to swat it? It runs for its life. Why? Who taught it to value its life? That desire to live, that spark, is the Spirit of God flowing into even the smallest creature. And look at the love of a parent for a child. It wells up naturally. You don't need a textbook to learn how to love your baby. That love is not yours, it is God's love flowing through you. Now, here is the crucial point. The reason you are suffering, the cause of your pain, is that your personal, spirit, power, and body are out of sync with the universe's spirit, power, and body. You are trying to swim upstream against the cosmic river. You are fighting the order body. You are misusing your energy power. You are closing your heart to love spirit. When you walk into a shrine, you are walking into a space where these three elements are perfectly aligned. The atmosphere of the shrine forces your messy waves to calm down. It forces your static to stop. And when your waves calm down, something magical happens. Resonance, the God wave, and the human wave overlap. That is the moment you cry without knowing why. That is the moment you feel a sudden warmth in your chest. It is not a miracle from the sky. It is simply you, finally tuning back into the station you were meant to broadcast. But there is one thing standing in the way of this resonance. There is one massive, stubborn obstacle that blocks the signal, no matter how many shrines you visit. It is the villain of our story. It is the thing that makes you say, when you should be listening. It is the thing I had to face in the pitch black darkness of a mountain, shivering with cold and terror. To tune into God, you must first defeat the beast called ego. And let me tell you, that beast is scarier than any bear in the woods. I know, because I met both. Chapter 4: The Bear and the Ego. We have spoken about the universe, the laws of physics, and the grand structure of God. But all of that means nothing if you cannot get past the guard dog at the gate. And that guard dog is you. Specifically, it is your self. In our teachings, we call this Gaga, the ego. It is the voice in your head that screams, I am important. I am hurt. I want this. I am afraid. As long as this voice is shouting, God cannot enter. Why? Because two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time. If your cup is full of muddy water, you cannot pour in the clear spring water of the divine. You must empty the cup first. Let me tell you the story of how my cup was emptied. It was not done in a comfortable library, reading books about spirituality. It happened on the freezing slopes of Mount Takakuma. I was a young man then, desperate for answers. I decided to undergo a brutal ascetic practice. For 1 week, I fasted. No food, not a single drop of water. I wore only a thin underrobe, a juban, in the biting cold of early spring. I sat on a rock, shivering, hallucinating, my body screaming for relief. I thought I was being brave. I thought, look at me, suffering for the truth. Surely God will be impressed by my endurance. You see, even in my suffering, my ego was alive and well. I was suffering. I was strong. Then, in the dead of night, it happened. I heard a sound that froze the blood in my veins. A low, guttural growl. From the shadows of the forest, a massive black shape emerged. A bear. It was huge, its breath steaming in the cold air, its eyes reflecting the moonlight. It stood on its hind legs and roared. At that moment, all my philosophy, all my pride, all my ambition evaporated. I was going to be eaten. I was going to die right there, alone, on a cold rock, leaving nothing behind. The fear was absolute. My body wanted to run, but I was too weak to move. My mind wanted to bargain, but there was no one to bargain with. I was cornered, and in that moment of total hopelessness, something snapped. My ego. The Onisaburo, who wanted to be famous, the Onisaburo, who feared death, simply gave up. I stopped fighting. I surrendered. I thought, Kanagara, this is a word you must remember. It means, as the gods will it. I said to the universe, if I am to die here, so be it. If I am to live, so be it. My life is not mine anymore. It is yours. I threw my life into the darkness. And then, a miracle happened. It wasn't a flash of light or angels descending with swords. It was a change in perception. As I looked at that terrifying beast, the fear vanished. Suddenly, the bear's roar didn't sound like a threat. It sounded lonely. It sounded like the cry of a brother. I felt a wave of overwhelming love for this creature. I realized, this bear is hungry. It is cold. It is just like me. We are both life, struggling to survive in this harsh world. We are both pieces of the same God. The bear lowered its head. It looked at me for a long moment. And then, it turned around and quietly walked back into the forest. I was left alone, but I was not lonely. For the first time in my life, I felt completely connected to everything. The wind, the trees, the rock I sat on, they were all my family. They were all God, and I was God, too. Do you understand what happened? The moment I stopped trying to save myself, I was saved. The moment I stopped clinging to the barrier between me and the world dissolved. This is the lesson I want you to burn into your heart today. When you go to a shrine, what do? Most people stand before the altar, clap their hands, and immediately start reciting a shopping list of desires. Please let me pass the exam. Please make him love me. Please give me money. My leg hurts. Please fix it. Listen to the language. Me, my. This is natural, yes. We are human. But this is not prayer. This is begging. And more importantly, it is the ego shouting. The flame of your desire is burning so brightly that it consumes the oxygen in the room. God's light is gentle. It cannot shine through a raging fire. True prayer is not asking for what you want. True prayer is reporting for duty. It is standing before the mirror of the shrine and saying, I am here. I am open. Use me. It is saying, I don't know what is best for me, but you do. I trust the flow. When you say, I surrender everything to you, you are not losing control. You are handing the steering wheel to a driver who actually knows the map. When you do this, the ego, steps aside. The tension in your shoulders drops. The anxiety about the future fades. Because if the universe is God, and you have surrendered to the universe, then whatever happens is the right thing. Even the bear is the right thing. Even the failure is the right thing. I know what you are thinking. That sounds nice, Onisaburo, but I have bills to pay. I have real problems. I can't just sit on a rock and surrender. I am not asking you to give up your life. I am asking you to give up your attachment to the outcome. I am asking you to stop gripping the steering wheel so hard that your knuckles turn white. The input text says, God descends only when the vessel is empty. If you are full of, I want, there is no space for, God wills. The next time you face a problem, a difficult boss, a financial crisis, a broken heart, try this. Instead of panicking, instead of fighting, close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Imagine that problem is a bear standing in front of you. And say to it, I surrender. Show me what you are here to teach me. Become the hollow bamboo. Let the wind blow through you. But be warned. Surrender is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of the real adventure. Because once you hand over the reins to God, the ride gets wild. I thought my journey was over on that mountain. I had no idea that I was about to be thrown into a literal war zone, facing a firing squad in the deserts of Mongolia. If you think the bear was scary, wait until you hear about the bullets. God has a sense of humor, my friends. And sometimes, he takes you to the edge of death just to show you that death is nothing to be afraid of. Are you ready to travel with me to the ends of the earth? Chapter 5: The Great Turning Point. You might think that facing a bear on a lonely mountain was the ultimate test. But let me tell you, the bear was just the rehearsal. The universe is a thorough teacher. Once you learn a lesson in private, it will test you in public. It will drag you out onto the main stage and say, "Okay, you say you have surrendered your life to God? Prove it." The year was 1924. While the rest of Japan was rebuilding from the Great Kanto earthquake, I did something that everyone called madness. I left. I didn't just go on a vacation. I traveled to the vast, wind-swept plains of Mongolia. My dream? To build a kingdom of heaven on earth. A place where all religions and races could live in peace. It sounds beautiful, doesn't it? But the reality was dirt, sweat, and gunpowder. I joined forces with a local warlord, a man named Lu Zhongkui. We rode horses across the endless horizon. I, a religious leader from Kyoto, riding alongside bandits and soldiers, renaming myself the Dalai Lama of the East. I can hear you laughing. Onisaburo, have you lost your mind? Perhaps. Or perhaps I was just following the script written by the cosmos. But as with all great dramas, the villain appeared. The Chinese warlord Zhang Zuolin sent a massive army to crush us. We were surrounded. We were outgunned. And on a hot day in June, at a place called Paintala, our luck ran out. I was captured, along with my closest disciples. They lined us up against a crumbling earthen wall. Behind us, the vast emptiness of the Mongolian sky. In front of us, a row of soldiers raising their rifles. This was not a metaphor. This was not a spiritual exercise. This was death. The end. The soldiers cocked their weapons. Click clack. Now, I want you to imagine yourself in that moment. What would you do? Would you beg for your life? Would you cry out to your mother? Would your knees shake so hard you couldn't stand? Most of the men around me were panicking. The fear of death is the ultimate instinct. It is the loudest voice of the ego screaming, "I don't want to end. I matter. Save me." But in that moment, standing before the barrel of a gun, I felt nothing. No, not nothing. I felt light, because I had already met the bear. I had already given my life away on Mount Takakuma. I looked at the soldiers, and I looked at the sky, and I realized, this, too, is God. If the bullet strikes me, it is God's kiss. If I fall here, my spirit will simply return to the great source. There was no I left to be afraid. So, instead of begging, I composed a poem. A death poem, recited with a smile. Even if my body is left to rot in the fields of Mongolia, I will not disgrace the spirit of a Japanese man. I stood tall. I puffed out my chest. I looked the executioner in the eye, not with hate, but with peace. I was ready. Fire whenever you like, my soul whispered. I am already home. And then, a cloud of dust appeared on the horizon. A shout rang out, "Stop, hold your fire." At the very last second, literally, the split second before the trigger was pulled, a car from the Japanese consulate arrived. They had driven across the desert like madmen to intervene. The execution was halted. We were saved. Now, you might say, "Onisaburo, you were just lucky." That was a coincidence. My friends, there is no such thing as coincidence. This is the secret mechanism of the universe that I want to hand to you today. Destiny does not move by force. If I had struggled, if I had tried to run, if I had begged and cried, I would have been shot in the back like a dog. My fear would have created a chaotic vibration that invited destruction. But because I stood in perfect stillness, because I accepted the reality completely, the world line shifted. The universe rearranged itself to match my vibration. This is what the input text means when it says, "Fate is not something you move with power. It is something that moves when you align." When you align your internal state with the divine will, even if that will looks like a firing squad, the external world must change. It is a law of physics. When the I disappears, the resistance disappears. And when the resistance disappears, the miraculous flow of providence rushes in. You are probably not facing a firing squad today, but you are facing your own walls at Paintala, aren't you? Maybe it's a debt that is about to crush you. Maybe it's a divorce paper staring you in the face. Maybe it's a diagnosis from the doctor. And you are panicking. You are thrashing around, trying to force a solution. I have to fix this. I have to make this go away. Stop. Just stop. You are pushing against a door that opens inwards. The more you push, the tighter it shuts. Do what I did at the wall. Stand tall. Look your problem in the eye. And say, okay, if this is where I end, I accept it. If this is where I lose everything, I accept it. I am not afraid, because I am not this body, I am not this money, I am not this title. I am a pillar of God. Surrender to the worst case scenario. Accept it fully, and watch what happens. The moment you truly give up the struggle, not out of despair, but out of trust, the dust will appear on the horizon. The phone will ring. The help will arrive from a direction you never expected. The world line will jump. I returned from Mongolia alive, but I was not the same man. I had walked through the valley of the shadow of death and found that there were no shadows there, only light. I knew then that nothing in this world could truly hurt me. And because I knew that, I became dangerous. Not dangerous to people, but dangerous to the systems that rely on fear. Dangerous to the structures that want to control us. And that brings us to the next great trial. Because once you stop fearing death, you stop fearing authority. And when you stop fearing authority, the great destruction begins. The authorities didn't like my newfound power. They decided that if they couldn't kill me with bullets, they would kill my legacy with dynamite. They were about to blow up everything I had built, and they had no idea that they were playing right into God's hands. Are you ready to see the temple fall? Chapter 6: The Destruction of Form. I want you to close your eyes and picture the most beautiful building you have ever seen. Maybe it is a cathedral in Europe, a temple in Kyoto, or perhaps the house you worked 40 years to buy. Imagine the sunlight hitting the roof tiles. Imagine the smell of the polished wood. Imagine the silence of the sanctuary where you felt safe. Now, imagine a fuse being lit. Hiss. And then, imagine it all vanishing in a cloud of gray dust and splintered timber. Boom. Gone. How would you feel? Would you scream? Would you weep? Would you feel that your God had abandoned you? This is not a hypothetical question. This is exactly what happened to me on a freezing winter dawn in 1935. This event is known in history books as the Second Omoto Incident. But to me, it was not an incident. It was the Great Cessation. The government had decided that my survival in Mongolia was a fluke, and my growing influence was a threat. They didn't just want to arrest me this time. They wanted to erase every trace of our existence from the face of the earth. They sent thousands of police officers. They dragged me and my wife out of bed. They threw 60 of my top leaders into dark, cold cells. But that was only the beginning of their thoroughness. They marched up to our holy grounds at the ruins of Kamayama Castle. We had built a magnificent sanctuary there. It was a place where thousands had come to heal, to pray, to find resonance. And the government brought dynamite. 1,500 sticks of dynamite. Can you imagine the sound? The earth shook. The birds scattered in terror. Day after day, the explosions rang out across the valley. They smashed the stone monuments. They burned the scrolls. They even scraped the ground to remove the pebbles we had walked on. They wanted to prove that God was weak against the power of the state. Now, let's switch the camera angle. Let's look at me, sitting in a solitary confinement cell, listening to the faint echoes of my life's work being blown apart. The guards watched me closely. They expected me to break. They expected the great teacher to crumble along with his temple. Look at him, they surely thought. He has lost everything. His God couldn't save his shrine. But they were confused, because I was not crying. I was not banging my head against the wall. I was relieved. Yes, You heard me correctly. Relieved. Why? Because in the silence of that cell, a profound truth washed over me. I whispered to myself, the gods have already evacuated. You see, the physical building, the wood, the gold, the stone, was never the point. It was just a container. It was a beautiful cup, yes, but we had started to worship the cup instead of the water inside it. We had become proud of our big buildings. We had started to think, look at us, we are great because we have this great hall. That is the trap of form. When you fall in love with the form, you lose the spirit. So, God, in His infinite and severe mercy, used the government as a wrecking ball. He smashed the cup to show us that the water cannot be destroyed. This is the lesson of metta, the cessation of suffering. Suffering comes from attachment to things that change. Buildings change, money changes, bodies age, reputations fade. If your happiness is tied to these things, you are building your house on a fault line. When the dynamite comes, and it always comes, you will fall. But if you realize that you are the shrine, then the dynamite is powerless. They could blow up the Kamayama shrine, but they could not blow up the connection in my heart. In fact, without the distraction of the building, the connection became stronger, clearer, purer. I told my followers later, this is a blessing. God has stripped us naked so we can start again. I want to ask you, listening to this right now, what is the shrine you're clinging to? Is it your job title? I am a manager. If I lose this job, I am nothing. Is it your bank account? I have savings. If the market crashes, I am destroyed. Is it your image as a good person? I need everyone to like me. If they criticize me, I will die. These are all forms. They are all wood and stone. And one day, life will light a fuse. You will get fired. You will lose money. You will be misunderstood. When that happens, will you break? Or will you be able to sit in the rubble, smile, and say, the form is gone, but the spirit remains? The second Omoto incident was brutal. Many of my friends died in prison. I was tortured. I was mocked. For years, I sat in a small box, cut off from the world. But in that box, I was freer than the men holding the keys. Because I needed nothing. I didn't need a pulpit to preach. I didn't need a congregation to feel holy. I didn't need the sun to feel the light. I realized that God descends, not into a place, but into a state of being. When everything outside is taken away, what is left? You, the naked, indestructible you. And that you is enough. This is the hardest lesson for humans to learn. We love our toys. We love our structures. We think that if we build a big enough life, we will be safe. But safety is an illusion. The only true safety is in being water. You can blow up a rock, but you cannot blow up water. It just splashes, settles, and flows again. When I finally walked out of that prison years later, I didn't look back at the ruins with sadness. I looked forward. I saw a Japan that was about to be burned to the ground by war. I saw a world that was about to lose all its forms. And I knew that my job was not to rebuild the old shrine. It was to teach people how to build a shrine that could never be destroyed. A shrine made of breath, of mind, and of daily action. So, the dynamite did not defeat us. It liberated us. It forced us to stop playing religion and start living truth. Are you ready to stop playing games? Are you ready to build the real shrine? The one that sits in the center of your chest? The one that requires no money, no carpenters, and no permission from the authorities? Good, because now that the ground is cleared, now that the rubble is swept away, we can finally lay the foundation. We are going to build the inner sanctuary, and I am going to show you exactly, step by step, how to do it. Grab your tools. The work begins now. Chapter 7: Building the Inner Shrine. We have cleared the ground. The dynamite of destiny has blown away your old attachments. The rubble is gone. Now, we must build. But we are not building with wood and nails. We are building with breath, with movement, and with intent. This brings us to the most practical part of our journey, the art of visiting a shrine. You might think, Onisaburo, I know how to visit a shrine. I throw a coin. I clap twice, I bow. No, that is not visiting. That is tourism. If you do that, you are merely a sightseer passing through a holy place. Today, I am going to teach you how to be a pilgrim. I am going to teach you the technology of the spirit. The input text tells us, a shrine is not just a building, it is a device for resonance. Every stone, every tree, every gate is placed there to hack your consciousness. To switch you from human mode to God mode. But the device only works if you know the password. So, let us walk through the shrine together, step by step. I want you to imagine you are standing at the entrance right now. Step 1, the Torii, the gateway. Look at the red gate standing before you. It is called a Torii. It is not a decoration. It is a kekai, a spiritual barrier. On one side is the secular world, the world of your job, your stress, your dinner plans. On the other side is the sacred space, the world of silence and origin. Most people walk through it while checking their smartphones. Do not be like them. Before you cross, stop. Take a breath. Bow once. This bow is not just politeness. It is the act of taking off your psychic coat. You are saying to the universe, I am leaving my title, my ego, and my worries here. I am entering naked as a soul. When you cross under the beam, imagine a curtain of light washing over you. You have now entered the zone of God. Step 2, the sando, the approach. Now you are walking on the path, the sando. Listen to the sound of your feet. Zaza, zaza. The gravel is loose on purpose. It makes it hard to walk fast. It forces you to slow down. The input text says, as you walk the stone steps, heavy thoughts are scraped away. Use this walk. With every step, imagine the mud falling off your shoes. I leave my anger here. Step. I leave my fear here. Step. Do not think about what you will pray for yet. Just walk. Feel the wind on your cheek. Listen to the rustling of the trees, the himorogi, the divine fence of nature. God is already talking to you through the wind. Are you listening, or are you still rehearsing your wish list? Step 3, the temazuya, the purification. You arrive at the water basin. This is the temazuya. You take the ladle. You wash your left hand, then your right, then your mouth. This is not about hygiene. This is masogi, purification. When the cold water hits your skin, it is a shock. It snaps you into the now. Wash your hands, and imagine you are washing away the bad things you have touched or taken. Rinse your mouth, and imagine you are washing away the lies you have told, the gossip you have spread, the angry words you have shouted. You are cleaning the vessel. Remember, God cannot enter a dirty cup. Make yourself pristine. Step 4, the Hayden, the hall of worship. Now, you stand before the main hall. There is a mirror inside. Have you ever wondered why? It is not there so you can check your hair. It is there so you can see yourself. Because ultimately, the God you are looking for is reflected in that mirror. Stand tall. Fix your posture. The spine must be straight. Your spine is the pillar. It is the antenna connecting heaven and earth. If you are slumped over, the signal cannot flow. And now, the most important part, the breath. The input text teaches us the secret of Chinkan, calming the spirit. Most people rush to pray. Please, God, help me. Stop. Before you ask for anything, you must empty your lungs. Exhale. Blow out every last drop of air from your belly. Push out the stagnation. Push out the self. Become a vacuum. And then, let the fresh air rush in naturally. That air is Shin-ki, God's energy. You are breathing God in. Step 5, the Kashiwad, the clap. You bow twice. You clap your hands twice. Clap, clap. Why do we clap? Is it to wake up a sleeping God? No. God is never sleeping. The sharp sound of the clap is a sonic cleanser. It breaks the wavelength of your stray thoughts. It aligns your vibration with the vibration of the shrine. In that ringing silence after the clap, that is the moment. That is resonance. Don't rush to fill that silence with words. Stay in the echo. Feel the warmth rising in your chest. That warmth is the proof. The input text says, if tears spill, or if you feel a warmth, that is the sign God has descended. And finally, what do you say? Do not say, I want this. Say, I am here. Say, use me. I declare that I will live as a pillar of light. I will act with conscience. I will serve the world. This is a contract. You are signing a treaty with the divine. I will do the work in the physical world. You provide the power from the spiritual world. Bow one last time, deeply. And then, turn around. As you walk back down the path, you are not the same person who walked in. You have installed the software. You have built the shrine inside your ribs. The heavy baggage you left at the Torii, you will find that when you go to pick it up, it is much lighter. Or perhaps, you will decide to leave it there permanently. This ritual, this walking, washing, breathing, clapping, it is not magic. It is a method to bring you back to your factory settings. Your factory setting is God. But visiting the shrine is only the training ground. The real test is what you do when you leave. Can you keep that shrine built when you go back to the office? Can you keep the pillars straight when you are stuck in traffic? And is there a way to turn your entire life, every action, every word, every creation, into a living prayer? Yes, there is, and it involves the greatest power humans possess, the power of creation. Let us talk about art. Chapter 8: Art as Prayer. So, you have learned how to visit the shrine. You have learned how to clap, how to bow, and how to breathe. But let me ask you a practical question. Can you live at the shrine? Can you sleep under the Torii gate? Can you eat your dinner at the altar? Of course not. You have to go home. You have to go back to your office, your kitchen, your factory, your desk. And this is where most people lose the connection. They leave the holy space and go back to the profane world, and the pillar of light they built instantly collapses. What a waste! What if I told you that you can turn your entire life into a shrine? What if I told you that the highest form of prayer is not kneeling in silence, but getting your hands dirty? Let me tell you about the last great passion of my life. After the wars, after the prisons, after the dynamite destroyed my temples, I did not rebuild the buildings immediately. Instead, I sat down in front of a lump of clay. I became a potter. In the final years of my life, I went a little crazy with creation. In just over 1 year, I made 3,000 tea bowls. 3,000. I was like a machine, but a machine fueled by joy. I would wake up before dawn, grab the clay, and just start molding. I didn't draw a blueprint. I didn't measure the temperature of the kiln perfectly. I just sang. I sang Shinto prayers. I sang folk songs. I hummed melodies that popped into my head while my thumbs dug into the soft earth. People called these bowls yawan, sparkling bowls. They were rough. They were colorful. They were weird. Critics looked at them and said, "This isn't traditional art. This is messy." But when they held them, they couldn't put them down. Why? Because those bowls were not made by me. They were made by the God flowing through my thumbs. I have a famous saying, art is the mother of religion. Most people think it is the other way around. They think religion is the serious parent, and art is the playful child. No, no, no. Think about it. Before there was a Bible, before there was a sutra, before there was a single word of theology, there was the sunset. There was the flower. There was the mountain. God is the first artist. God created the universe not as a rulebook, but as a painting. God is a musician, and the universe is his song. So, when you create something, anything, you are mimicking God. You are vibrating at the exact same frequency as the Creator. The input text says, when the vessel is empty and clear, God's Spirit flows in like water. My tea bowls were the physical proof of this. I emptied my mind. I stopped trying to make a perfect bowl. I stopped trying to impress the art critics. I just let the energy flow. And do you know what happened? The bowls became alive. They say that some of my bowls seem to glow in the dark. That is not radium. That is spirit. Now, I am looking at you. I can hear you sighing. But Onisaburo, I am not an artist. I am an accountant. I am a truck driver. I am a housewife. I cannot make 3,000 tea bowls. You are wrong. You are creating every single moment of every single day. The question is, what kind of energy are you putting into your creation? When you cook dinner for your family, are you throwing the vegetables into the pot while thinking, I hate this, I am so tired, I wish I was watching TV? If so, you are cooking poison stew. You are putting the vibration of anger into the food, and your family will eat it. But what if you cooked like I made my bowls? What if you chopped the carrots while humming a song? What if you imagined that with every stir of the spoon, you are mixing God's light into the soup? Then, that soup becomes medicine. That soup becomes a sacrament. When you write an email at work, are you typing with frustration? For my last email, click, click, click. That email carries a curse. But if you take a breath, clear your mind, and type with the intention of service, that email becomes a prayer. Art is not just painting or sculpture. Art is life. The way you walk is art. The way you speak to the cashier at the grocery store is art. The way you fold your laundry is art. If you do it with a clean heart, with the emptiness we talked about, God enters the action. I want you to try this experiment tomorrow. Pick one mundane task, something you hate doing, washing the dishes, commuting on the train, filling out a spreadsheet. Before you start, do the clap in your mind. Clear the space, and then do the task as if you are making a masterpiece for God. Do it beautifully. Do it rhythmically. Don't rush to finish it. Enjoy the movement. You will find that the exhaustion disappears. Why? Because you are not doing the work anymore. God is washing the dishes through you. And God never gets tired. This is the secret of the yawen. My hands moved on their own. I was just the spectator, watching the clay dance. It was the most fun I ever had. And that brings me to a crucial point about God. We tend to think of God as serious, strict, and scary. Yes, there is that side, the fire side. But the ultimate nature of the universe is joy. Look at a puppy chasing its tail. Look at a dolphin jumping in the waves. They are not working. They are playing. God loves to play. When you treat your life as a playful act of creation, you are instantly enlightened. You stop being a heavy, serious human with problems. You become a divine child. So, my dear friends, stop taking yourselves so seriously. Stop thinking that spiritual life means sitting in a dark room and suffering. Sing, dance, paint, build, make your life colorful. The input text mentioned that money and people gather around those with Shin Ki, divine energy. Do you know who has the most divine energy? People who are enjoying their creation. Have you ever watched a true master at work? A master sushi chef? A master carpenter? They look happy. They look focused. They shine. People want to be near them. People want to pay them. That is the law of attraction in action. It is not magic. It is the vibration of art. Your life is the clay. Your mind is the wheel. And God is the thumb pressing into the center. Don't let the clay dry out with bitterness. Keep it wet with enthusiasm. Spin it, shape it, and if it collapses, if the bowl breaks, laugh, smash it down and start again. Because the joy is not in the finished bowl. The joy is in the feeling of the mud between your fingers. But there is one more tool we need. We have the body shrine rituals. We have the action art creation. Now we need the most powerful magic of all. The magic that changes reality instantly. The magic that I used to predict the end of the war. And the magic that shapes your tomorrow before you even wake up. We need to talk about the mystery of Kotodama, the spirit of words. Are you watching your language? Because your mouth is a loaded gun. Chapter 9: The Power of Words. We have shaped the clay. We have built the shrine. But there is one final tool in our kit, and it is the most dangerous one of all. It is the tool that created the universe, and it is the tool that is creating your life right now, even as you sit there. It is your voice. In Japan, we call this Kotodama, the spirit of words. Most people think words are just labels. Apple, desk, sad, happy. They think words describe reality. They are wrong. Words create reality. The Bible says, "In the beginning was the Word." It does not say, "In the beginning was the atom." It was a sound, a vibration, a thunderclap that woke the void. Let me take you back to the year 1921, right after I was released on bail from the first Great Suppression. The government had tried to silence me. They thought that by locking me up, my message would die. But silence only amplifies the inner voice. When I came out, I did not sit down to write a letter of complaint. I sat down and opened my mouth. For days, for weeks, for months, I entered a trance. I began to dictate the Reiki Monogatari, the story of the spirit world. I didn't write it with a pen. I spoke it. My scribes had to race to keep up with me. I spoke for hours without stopping, the words flowing like a raging river from a source I couldn't see. In total, I produced 81 volumes. 81 volumes of cosmic history, prophecy, and spiritual law. It was a storm of language. Why did I do this? Because I knew that the physical world follows the spiritual world, and the spiritual world is made of sound. By speaking these stories, I was laying down the tracks for the future of humanity. I was rewriting the code of the Matrix. And this power, it is not unique to me. It is in you, but look at how you use it. Be honest with me. What did you say to yourself when you looked in the mirror this morning? Did you say, "I am a pillar of God"? Or did you say, "I look tired. I am getting old. I am broke. I am anxious"? Listen to me carefully. Every time you say, "I am tired," you are commanding your cells to be tired. Every time you say, "I have no money," you are signing a contract with poverty. You are using the holy power of Kotodama to curse yourself. The universe is a giant copying machine. It has no sense of humor. It has no judgment. It simply listens to your vibration and says, "Okay, let's give him more of that." You say, "I hate my job." The universe says, "Understood. Here is more reason to hate your job." You say, "I am lonely." The universe says, "Understood. Let's drive people away." I saw the terrifying power of this firsthand. During the trials, I made prophecies. I didn't want them to come true. I saw a vision of Japan in flames. I saw the great cities, Tokyo, Osaka, turned into fields of silver grass, emptied by fire. I told the court, Tokyo will become a Suzuki no, a field of pampas grass. They laughed. They thought I was a madman. But I wasn't guessing. I was reading the Kotodama of the nation. Japan at that time was speaking words of aggression, of superiority, of war. When a whole nation speaks words of fire, the sky rains fire in return. It is simply cause and effect. The B-29 bombers, the atomic clouds, they were the physical echoes of the spiritual noise we had created. But here is the good news. If words can destroy, words can also heal. If words can summon poverty, words can summon wealth. The input text mentions that money flows to those with a clear mission. How does money know where to go? It follows the sound. Money is energy. It is a current. It is attracted to the vibration of gratitude and confidence. When I needed money for my movement, I never begged. I never said, "We are short on funds." I declared, "The funds are already here. God has provided." And like clockwork, the donations arrived. Not because I manipulated people, but because I manipulated reality with my voice. And what about people? The input text says, when God descends, your human relationships change. This is also the work of Kotodama. When you start speaking words of truth, kindness, and high vibration, you become a tuning fork. Some people will not like your new sound. They are used to your old sound. The complaining, gossiping, victimized you. When you stop joining in their negativity, they will feel uncomfortable. They will leave. The tide recedes, as the text says. Let them go. Do not chase them, because as they leave, new people who resonate with your new sound, will be drawn to you. This is the God bond, Shin-en. These are the people who are meant to build the new world with you. You don't have to go looking for them. You just have to broadcast the signal, and they will find you. So, I have a challenge for you. For the next 24 hours, I want you to go on a word diet. Stop eating poison. No complaints. No self-deprecation. No gossip. If you catch yourself saying, I can't, stop immediately. Replace it with, I am learning. Replace, I am afraid, with, I am preparing. Replace, I want, with, I am ready to receive. Feel the shift in your chest when you change the words. That physical shift, that is the world line moving. That is you jumping from a timeline where you fail to a timeline where you succeed. You are the author of your life, but you have been letting your fear hold the pen. Take the pen back. Better yet, take the microphone. Speak to your empty room tonight. Say it out loud. I am a shrine. I am a vessel. I am infinite. Does it feel silly? Good. The ego hates it. The ego feels silly. But the soul remembers. The soul hears that sound and wakes up. Prophecy is not just for bearded men in history books. You are prophesying your future every time you open your mouth. So, what is your prophecy for tomorrow? Is it a tragedy, or is it a legend? The choice is entirely yours. Speak clearly. The universe is listening. And now that we have aligned our body shrine, our action art, and our speech Kotodama, there is only one thing left. We must look at the final destination. We must look at what happens when you fully integrate all of this. We must talk about the pillar of light. We must talk about the ultimate goal of human existence, Shinjin Goitsu, the union of God and man. The journey is almost complete. Are you ready to become the God you have been searching for? Chapter 10: The Pillar of Light. We have traveled a long road together, haven't we? We started in the mud of failure, walked through the fire of persecution, stood before the firing squad in Mongolia, and watched our temples crumble into dust. We learned how to wash our hands, how to clap, how to shape clay, and how to speak with the power of creation. You have all the tools now. You have the map, you have the compass, but a map is useless if you do not take the final step. And this final step is not about doing something. It is about becoming something. The ultimate goal of all my teachings, the destination of every shrine visit, and the purpose of the universe itself can be summed up in 4 words. Shinjin Goitsu, the union of God and man. This sounds like a grand, mystical concept, doesn't it? You might imagine hovering in the air, glowing with neon light, or shooting lightning from your fingertips. Let me bring you back down to earth. Union with God does not mean you stop being human. It means you become a complete human. Think back to the tree I described earlier. God is the root. You are the flower. A flower does not try to be a root. A flower's job is to bloom, to be beautiful, to smell sweet, to scatter seeds. When the flower blooms fully, the root rejoices. Ah, says the God root, finally, my energy has found expression. You are the expression of God in this physical world. God has no hands but your hands. God has no voice but your voice. If you are lazy, God is paralyzed. If you are silent, God is mute. Do you feel the weight of that responsibility? But do you also feel the glory of it? I have always preached this truth. When God and man unite, infinite power is unleashed. What is this infinite power? It is not the power to dominate others. That is the power of the ego. Infinite power is the power of synchronicity. It is the state where you move, and the universe moves with you. It is the state where you work with no mind, mushin, completely absorbed in the present moment. Have you ever been so focused on a task, playing a sport, writing a code, nursing a child, that you forgot your name? You forgot time? You forgot to worry? In that moment, you were gone. And because you were gone, God was there. That is Shinjin Goitsu. It is not a rare event for mountain hermits. It is available to you, right now, in your kitchen, in your office, on your commute. I want you to visualize something with me. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a beam of light descending from the highest heaven, straight down through the roof of your house. It enters the top of your head. It flows down your spine, warm and brilliant. It passes through your feet and anchors deep into the center of the earth. You are now a pillar. This is the true meaning of the Japanese word for counting gods, Hashira pillar. We don't say, one god, two gods. We say, one pillar, two pillars. Why? Because a god is a vertical connection between sky and earth. And now, you are that connection. When you become this pillar, the environment around you begins to change automatically. You don't have to force it. You are like a heater in a cold room. You just stand there, radiating warmth, and the ice melts. You will notice the change immediately. Your family becomes peaceful. Your workplace becomes clear. The anxiety that used to crush you fades away. This is not because you preached to them. It is because your vibration tuned them. You have become a walking shrine. Where you stand is holy ground. Your desk is an altar. Your dinner table is a place of offering. You don't need to go to the shrine anymore to find God, because you brought the shrine home with you. But Onisaburo, you ask, what about the world? The world is still dark. There are wars, poverty, corruption. What can one little pillar do? My friends, do not underestimate the power of one light in the darkness. I spoke of a vision called Moroku no Yo, the world of Maitreya. The Buddhist Messiah, the paradise on earth. People think this is a future date. Maybe in 56 billion years, the world will be perfect. No, the kingdom of heaven is not a time. It is a frequency, and it is being built, brick, by people like you. Every time you choose love over fear, you lay a brick. Every time you choose gratitude over complaint, you lay a brick. Every time you do your work with joy instead of resentment, you are building the new world. I have seen the future. I have seen a world where religion is not about fighting, but about art. I have seen a world where money flows like water to nourish life, not to build walls. I have seen a world where every human being realizes they are a child of the same source. It is beautiful. It is dazzling. But I cannot build it alone. I am just one man who lived, spoke, and died in the Showa era. I have passed the baton. I have handed the clay to you. The great reconstruction of the world depends on your awakening. You might feel small. You might feel that your past failures define you. I am just a sinner. I am just a loser. Nonsense. Throw those words into the fire. Those are just the dusty clothes you wore before you entered the Torii gate. You are naked now. You are fresh. God does not care about your resume. God only cares about your resolve. Are you willing to stand up? Are you willing to be the conduit? Know this truth: God is waiting for you to awaken. It is not you waiting for God. God has been tapping on your shoulder for years. Are you ready yet? Can we start yet? Today, in this video, you heard the call. That pull you felt towards the shrine? That was not a coincidence. That was the RSVP to the greatest party in the universe. The preparations are complete. The stage is set. The music is starting. So, I say to you, go to the shrine. Walk the path. Clap your hands. But when you turn to leave, do not leave God behind. Carry him in your belly. Carry him in your eyes. Walk out into the street and look at the passers-by. Look at the trees. Look at the sky. And say to them, with a smile, I am here. And because I am here, everything is going to be all right. You are the savior you have been waiting for. You are the answer to your own prayers. The era of looking up at the sky is over. The era of looking inward has begun. Stand tall, my friends. Be the pillar. Let the light flood in. And let us change this world, together. Summary: the door is open. So, I ask you now, the next time you visit a shrine, will you stand there with a new heart? The moment you clap your hands and close your eyes, you are not just praying to a distant deity. You are declaring to the universe that you are ready to host the divine. Remember, the true shrine is not the building of wood and stone, but your own body and soul. When you align your breath and silence your mind, God quietly takes his seat within you. You do not need grand miracles or special powers. You only need the resolve to be a clear vessel. Go forth now. Let the wind of the shrine cleanse you, and let the God within you awaken. The preparation is done. The door is now open. The rest is up to you to walk through it. Thank you for watching. Thank you.